Okay, folks, if you're listening to us on YouTube, we're talking to the beautiful Miss Charlotte McKinney, but you're looking at her on YouTube. So you already know she's beautiful. So yeah, Scott tells me, he says, yeah, this girl is, she put a thing at the end of something and he sent it to me. It showed me how to get to it. Yeah. And I was saying something in my movie Beyond Impossible and you were giggling. And I went, okay, this woman gets it. So let's talk to her. Now, when I say that to Scott,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, we'll get to Charlotte when we get to her. We got doctors every Friday. We got all this stuff. I don't even know who Charlotte is, other than the fact that I looked at the top 3 or 4 pictures on your Instagram and you're stunning to say at least. And I get why you have like 1 point whatever million followers, But today I go, all right, I need to find out something about Charlotte because I'm going to be talking to this woman and I can't just talk about her beauty the entire time. Yeah. You don't
live.
Well, no, please. I mean, the bottom line is, I do remember you from the Super Bowl a few years ago.
Yes, Carl's Jr.
Yeah, you became famous for eating a hamburger.
Exactly, right? I have to stay true to my roots.
Yeah. Well, I was in your business for a long time. I know this sounds weird, but this is going to sound really weird. I used to be a model.
Love that.
I know you're looking at it now going, there's no way that he looks like he's a million.
You can always still kind of see it in the eyes.
Oh, whenever you say still kind of see it, that means you can't see it whatsoever.
There's nothing there.
So let's not do this. It's ugly. It doesn't look good on you. But yeah, way back in the day when I was in LA, I would have to model, and when you model in LA, you're not modeling. You're doing, when you have 6-pack abs, you're doing beer ads, right?
Yeah.
Because let's face it, every guy that drinks beer can dive and get a volleyball right before it hits the sand.
Exactly.
I can't tell you how many times I knocked my shoulder out of joint doing that move for a beer ad. But that's the way that works. Go on.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. And, my wife was in that business. It's a crazy business to be in. And there you are eating a hamburger. Now, at the time, you didn't have big time representation, I bet, right?
No, I was just, kind of this guest model. I was probably this was like my second living in LA, my first kind of big thing. I mean, after that, I got represented and got the whole team together. But yeah, I was fairly new.
It's interesting how it works. You were out there, you were unrepresented, and then you get a big ad, and now everyone wants you, right? Who was it? Let me guess. Wilhelmina, one of those. Who got you?
I was actually with them already. I was with Will enough. And then I started working with UTA, United Talent Agency. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because when I moved out there from New Orleans, I had been working there as a trainer and I had a radio show and all that stuff. And I moved out to LA and I had one friend, exactly one friend. Her name, famous actress. Her name is Alexandra Paul, which is crazy because she's a vegan. Right?
Yeah.
And love Alexandra to death. She invited me to Thanksgiving that first year. I'd been in town for a couple of months. Very sweet. She goes, come over for Thanksgiving. And that's when I learned never, ever, ever accept an invitation to a vegan Thanksgiving because you will fucking eat tofurkey.
You will die. Like, how could you even consider that? You had to be pretty and alone to have done that.
I didn't know anyone. Look, you get to LA. I got to LA. I didn't know a soul. I was in Brentwood and she lived down the street. Somehow we met, mutual friend or something from New Orleans. I'm not really sure. Yeah. And she was really sweet and such a nice woman. Alexandra and I are exactly the same age. we kind of had the same sensibilities, and she was into sports. Matter of fact, she married another trainer, and they get along great. They've been married for, I want to say, like 20, 25 years, and he's a really good trainer.
Wow.
But she was into triathlon and all that kind of stuff. But I looked around and went, man, this vegan lifestyle, I better not get too close to this woman, because I can end up liking her. And there's a strong possibility she can end up liking me, because we had a lot in common.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. So, moved away from that. But yeah, the whole vegan thing is kind of crazy. You don't know much about me, and you told me that the only thing you know is that I've done 3 documentaries, and you've seen those.
Which those 3 I've genuinely really enjoyed and found so helpful, and it's stuff I try and preach so much too. So I was so excited when I did hear from you guys, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This guy really gets it.
Yeah. My thing was back in 2010 or so, a lot of things were going on, right? You were probably still, how old are you, Charlotte, if you don't mind me asking?
No, you're fine. I am 28.
Okay. So you were like 17, 18 back then.
Yeah.
I was kind of done. Back in 2007, I got leukemia.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I almost died. And I'm okay now. I'm fine. Yes.
Amazing.
And one of my clients, this guy, Dean Laurie, Dean Laurie has written TV shows that everyone loves, like My Wife and Kids, Arrested Development. Dean is known around the industry, and we were close friends. And every Friday night we'd go out and have a drink and a piece of fish. And he would say to me, man, you got to write the book. You have to write the book. You've done it all. You've seen it all. You've done it all. And I kept saying no. I said, Dean, every time I went to Simon & Schuster or HarperCollins or whatever, they were like, you write a book? Yes. We want you to do a tell-all on all of your clients. And I said, no. Why would I do that? And they were, you would be so rich, you would never need those people again. It's like, why would I screw over the people who supported me and who became friends of mine? Who does that?
Yeah. No, thanks. It's going to be a hard pass.
Yeah. And so Dean kept saying, no, you have a book, you have a book, you have a book. And I kept, Dean, they only want the names. They don't give a shit about me. They want the names.
Exactly.
You know how it is. I mean, you don't get to Malibu just so. You go through a lot of crap, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And one day we went in, it was about late 2009, going into 2010. And Dean, we were going through a depression back then.
Yeah.
There was, after my cancer, there was a big screenwriters debacle. There was a big strike, and screenwriters went in with, SAG and AFTRA and everything. It just became a complete moose fuck, as they call it in Hollywood. And when they're not making movies, I'm not working. Like I don't have clients, because I have to wait until there's a production for them to call me. Right.
Exactly. I can relate to that.
So you know what's going on. And Dean's like, you got to write the book. And I kept saying, no. And then one day he says, you got to read a book. I said, ooh, I like to read. And I said, which book would you like me to read? And he goes, Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain. Read that book. Have you read it?
I haven't finished it. And it's funny, I just watched the documentary, and I'm a huge fan of him. And it makes me want to go back and like reread the book, because he was just the best. Do
that, Charlotte. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah.
I read the book in one day, and then I called Dean and I said, I know what you want me to do. And I sat down and started writing notes on the back of envelopes. I'm a scrap paper guy. I always have scrap paper around. And jotting notes down. And when I would get home at night, I would put the notes into Word, someone showed me how to use Word, put it in there. And then I would send them to Dean every now and again. And Dean was just collecting them and correlating and doing all the stuff. And one night we were having our scotch and fish, and he goes, you know, you've written more than 40,000 words in notes.
Crazy.
And I said, yeah. He goes, yeah, a book is only 70 or 80,000 words. You've basically written a book.
Yeah.
And I said, well, there you go. And he goes, well, why don't you come by my office and we'll see if we can get these notes into a book. And that's what we did. And that's what started this whole idea of, you see, I was always scared of giving my secrets as a trainer away.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
But once I figured out that people would take this information and use it and get healthy, money doesn't matter anymore.
Totally. Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
But I got lucky. That book made a lot of money, which is good for me because I needed the money to do other things.
Exactly. To get to the next step, kind of.
No, not kind of.
Yes.
Exactly. Look, when you're a trainer, you know, as you know, as a trainer, everyone in my hometown thought I was rich because like, you make between 150 and 200,000 a year. It's like, yeah, that's waking up in LA money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cutting it here. Yeah.
Yeah. You're broke. If you're making 100,000, you can be perfectly broke if you're watching your money.
Oh, totally. Totally.
When you go home and your parents and they go, wait, Charlotte, what? Well, you made how much? They think you got all that money sitting in the bank, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I go over like how much it cost me to make what I make. You know, it cost me almost just as much to make because living here, like my upkeep is ridiculous. I mean, and that's a big stress and part of my life. It's a constant upkeep here, and living and eating healthy is another thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you got to be making decent money to live comfortably.
You do. Or just to get by, you know.
Oh, totally.
And when my brothers would come, they would go, this is how you live. It's like, this is all I have. But then after I had the big hit, right, I had this money.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I wanted to do was to go buy like a really cool sports car.
I love it.
But I didn't, because I said, you know, I've seen so many people make a lot of money and then they're broke again, especially back in the modeling days. You won't remember this because I don't think in your life it happened a whole lot. We were the last generation. If you got like a Coca-Cola ad, that one ad can carry you for the year because you got paid residuals.
Yeah.
Residuals don't, your generation, it doesn't work that way anymore, right?
I still have my jobs that I have residuals from, but it's nothing like what it was.
Not commercials though, is it? Is it more if you're on a TV show or something?
Yeah, more like TV shows or movies. That's where I still get them. But commercials, no, not like the old days. No.
Okay, that Carl's Jr. ad would have made you gobs of money back in the day. Like,
totally.
Like the example I like to give people, you know, the Progressive insurance commercial with Flo?
Yes.
Okay. She's a comedic actress.
Yeah.
She's wealthy now because she's been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah.
Right. But those are all buyouts. Now, once Flo becomes really famous, then they give her more money to keep her. Right. They don't want her to go to the competition because she can.
Yeah.
That's why Geico uses a lizard because
exactly.
You know, it's easy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I'm looking at this money going, I need to do something important with it. I can't go buy a car. And since I already had the nicest woman on the planet, I couldn't spend it on hookers and blow. And
damn it.
I mean, it would be dumb for me to buy a lot of cocaine because I've still not smoked a joint. I'm going to be 60 years old this year.
Wow.
You're looking at me going, wait, this guy, you've never smoked? No, I've never smoked. I went through college. I did everything. No joints.
It's funny. There's just those people who made it so far to where it's like, why would you do it now? You know, it's like, so I mean, I can't say that I did that, but I admire people who have done that.
Well, I don't know if you should admire that, because even at 59, I've considered, should I go smoke a joint? Because I'm going to die one day, and I'm going to be on my deathbed going, I wonder what that was like.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do that. But anyway, I'm not into drugs, and I'm certainly not into hookers. So the hookers and blow just wouldn't have worked for me.
Not a good.
And the sports car. Yeah. Once you have a sports car, now you got to live the lifestyle of a guy with a sports car.
Exactly.
And so I went, you know what? I've always hated the vitamin industry. I've hated it because they put crap, no matter what. You want to take the stuff for your health, but they put crap in there. That's always my thing. Why is crap in this product?
Exactly.
Charlotte wants to be healthy. Why would they put crap in the thing that she's taken to become healthy?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I took that money and started a vitamin company.
Amazing.
Every person I knew, Charlotte, said, you're going to lose every dime. And I said, you know what? I would lose that same money with the hookers and blow and with the sports car. So
exactly.
I'm going to try. And guess what? I tried and I won.
I love it.
PureVitaminClub.com is a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And then I went, wait a minute. I like coffee a lot.
Same.
And I started roasting coffee on my front porch, because if you try to do it inside, you'll smoke your whole house out.
Yeah.
Fire department shows up. So I started roasting coffee and coming up with roast. Started PureCoffeeClub.com.
Amazing.
And now we have NSNGFoods.com. All off of doing a smart thing, right? It wasn't about making a lot of money. It was, how can I give back? Now, by the way, along the way, I went out and bought a sports car, kept it for about 2 years, never drove it, and sold it. So
exactly.
As it turns out, I didn't want it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're going to learn that in life. You're going to learn, you think you want shit,
and then you have it and not necessary.
Yeah. So that's my story. And, but I want to learn more about you. You get to LA, somehow you end up at the farmer's market in a Carl's Jr. ad. What happens after that?
So after that, I signed with the talent agency and was just, doing really well after that. And, super grateful for all the opportunities I had. And I feel like for me, it was kind of that thing that helped me get more into the acting side. Like, I had always done modeling, and modeling's great, but I always kind of wanted to do comedy. And my phone's dying.
You're fine. I can still hear you whenever it cuts out.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, everything was going really great, was able to do films and things like that. And, I think it's kind of just the ups and downs of the career, and you have the years that are super busy and you have the years that are not. And, it's kind of just finding consistency. And I feel like for me, what I have a hard time with is when I'm not working, I go a little stir crazy. So it's finding the balance and finding something else I really love, like health and exercise to me is like super huge. I don't go a day without it. And that was kind of like thank God I had that during, my career. So it's just been a big, big part of who I am and what I support. And I think through the years, I have had so many options with different brands, different companies. And I think I've stuck pretty true to like only working with brands that I genuinely would use or consume and things like that. So I've noticed, and recently I've noticed that a lot of these brands that want to work with me or something like that, if there's an ingredient in something that I see, I won't do it, I'm really, and I think that's why that the main thing I posted from that thing was just you reading the ingredients off the burger, to me, that was just, and that's kind of how I live my life. So to me, it was just so interesting to just like hear it straight up like that,
Yeah. Look, I mean, back in my day, I did beer ads.
Of course. Yeah.
But I wouldn't do cigarette. Back in my cigarette ads paid a lot back in my day.
Oh, yeah.
And I told my agent, don't even send me for it.
Yeah.
Just don't send it. And she was like, why? You so much money. And I said, I was with Irina Kamal. I was with the same agent that had Pam Anderson and all those people. And, I said, don't send me, because look, the internet didn't exist, but I said, back then it's like, if I get an infomercial, because I was always up for infomercials. That was a big thing back then, because you got an infomercial, you can hawk your wares. I said, somehow someone's going to find me with a cigarette on a billboard, because that used to be what it was. Exactly. And they're going to go, oh, look at Mr. Fitness on the billboard with a cowboy hat with a Marlboro in his mouth. And it's just
do both.
Right. Now, what it would have been was it would have been on the internet. The vegans would be yelling right now, oh, look at Mr. Health over there smoking a cigarette back. See, we couldn't foresee this. But as a matter of fact, if you want to see something really embarrassing in your free time, I did an ad for a company. Mm-hmm. It was a jewelry company, and it was a print ad that was in W magazine. It went worldwide.
Amazing.
I became the gay icon back in the early 90s. Like every gay guy wanted me.
That's so funny. I'm dying to, when we hang up, look at your pictures back in the day. I'm very excited to do that.
Just if you put in Vinnie and then put in conch shell behind it. If you have a computer sitting there right now, do it, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
My things, everything else. Would you kill me if I plug my phone in? One second.
We're okay.
1 second for me. I don't know why it's not.
I love that Charlotte has the same problems I have when it comes
totally.
to electronic stuff.
Maybe if I
look at it, she's going out, folks. You got to go watch this on a video. It's going sideways. It's going backward.
I'm ruining this whole thing. Okay.
No, you're not. This is perfect. Are you kidding?
So Charlotte's connection is just to shit. Okay, let me just stand this thing up. Okay, there we go. Okay, so conch shell.
Yeah, if you put in Vinnie, put in my whole name and then put conch shell into it. You're going to pull up a picture. It looks like I'm sodomizing a conch shell. Right there in Malibu is where the ad was done.
Oh, I'm sure.
This jewelry company did the ad. All I remember about that day was being freezing cold because I'm naked on the beach.
Of course, I've been there. That was me last week. I can totally relate. You
get it, right? I mean, so there I am freezing my ass off, getting this picture, and it was a buyout. It was in Women's Wear Daily. It went around the world. I became the gay icon. I was on posts. I was on billboards.
That's not a bad thing.
But then it all goes away.
With gays, Vinnie, you're in with everything.
Oh yeah, the gays loved me. I was like, it's like I was in. And then Mark Wahlberg came along about a month later with the Calvin Klein ad, and I was done.
Yep, you had your 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was like, thank you, Mark. And then he went on to be great. So, but the whole thing is that picture came and went, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I didn't even, nobody I knew read W magazine back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Lo and behold, 2015, 2016, I start doing the Adam Carolla show. Yeah. And I become a regular. So people start Googling. And I guess you could do some kind of deep dive on Google.
Oh, yeah.
Someone finds this photo. And I've never lived it down. But every time I see it, every single time I see it, and when I go to my Twitter tonight, it's going to be, someone's going to go, here's the guy fucking a conch shell. Look at him. Look at him. It's naked.
I love it. I love it.
If that had been the Marlboro Man, the vegans would take that. I would never see the light of day.
Totally.
That's the luckiest move I've ever made in my life, turning down those cigarette ads.
Truly.
Besides, I wouldn't promote that anyway. Yeah.
But it's true. And I think this was a few years back. I had an offer from a vape company, and the money was just beautiful. I mean, I just kept going back and forth in my head, and I was like, how can I make this work? But at the end of the day, I was just like, I just can't. You just can't. It's just kind of the thing that no matter what, people will be able to pull that up, and it's always there. And that's the thing now with this day and the internet. Anything you do lives on and will always be there, unfortunately.
Yeah, look, I mean, I was around, I mentioned Pam Anderson. I didn't know Pam. We met at parties a half dozen times, but and every now and then I was on Baywatch back then, and she was on. And then my friend Alexander Paul became a regular on Baywatch also. And it's funny how Hollywood keeps like coming around, right?
Totally.
And the one they tried to get me to help, but it didn't work, was this girl, Anna Smith. You're probably way too young to know who she is.
I have a crazy fascination with her. I know her whole story inside and out. It's funny. I even read something. They're doing another movie about her. I love Anna. I mean, she was great. She was a ledge. So you had the opportunity to train her.
Well, what they were trying to do, I worked with a lot of the Playboy. Because
hold up. So was this pre-trim spa, or was this like where was she in her career?
I couldn't tell you, but it was early 90s.
Okay, so before she got really skinny.
Yeah, well, I try not to talk about this too much, but
sorry.
But Playboy used me. This is no secret. Once you were a Playmate, they had you under contract for I think like 2 years to go make appearances and all over the world and what have you. Well, you get these girls from the Midwest, and all of a sudden they have money in their pocket, and they start eating a lot of sushi, and they didn't want fat Playmates back then. Now I think it would be lauded. They would go, "Oh, great, fat Playmate." But back then,
wait, I just lost you.
No, you're there. I can still hear you.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Your sound has never gone away, even when you black out.
Okay, good.
So that's what they wanted Playmates to look a certain way. And that was my beginning of working with celebrities. So I started with C-list celebrities, Playmates.
Wait, why am I losing you?
Can you not hear me? Because I can hear you. Say something, Charlotte. You're there.
I'm here. Okay, sorry, you just keep freezing. Okay, now I see you.
Yeah, but when I freeze, do you still hear me?
No.
Oh, I can still hear you.
Okay,
so
okay.
Just agree.
So
whenever I freeze, just go,
okay.
Just do that. And then the audience will be none the wiser. So that's what happened. I was working with a lot of Playmates. Well, they were having trouble with Anna Nicole. She became a big thing really fast, like really, really fast.
Yeah.
And they didn't know, like nobody, it was like a shooting star and nobody can grab it. Not Anna, not the people around her. And the people around her were just along for the ride anyway. So it was just a pig fuck from day one. It was just no good.
Totally. Yeah.
And when they call you and go, "Hey, can you come in? Can you do something?" The answer is, "I can't. What am I going to do?"
Yeah.
And I left it alone.
Yeah, that's a tough situation.
It really is. Now, you've had health problems, you've had health issues, and you tinkered around with veganism also, correct?
Yeah. I was diagnosed all throughout like high school. I always had kidney stones. Always created crazy amounts of kidney stones. 20 kidney stones. And it was till I had a surgery to remove some. That's when I saw I had interstitial cystitis, which is a bladder thing, and a bit of kidney disease and all that. And after one of my surgeries, I don't know if it was an eating disorder or if it was just scared to put anything in my body. I was just only eating like super, super clean, wouldn't touch meat, and was just eating like, tons of vegetables, which when you think about it, that's an oxalate, which creates a kidney stone.
Sure.
So it was basically at this point, this was maybe 4 years ago, and I just got so thin. And I was away on a movie set, and there wasn't many options to eat, and I didn't eat meat, and I didn't eat gluten, and I didn't eat dairy. So I was really thin. I came back, and one of my doctors was like, you just have to start eating meat. And I was just like, but why? Like, blah, blah. And I got back on it. I had a doctor that I genuinely really trusted and really respected. And I got back on it, and I'm never turning around. I just, it makes me feel good. I mean, all the benefits.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, and I think being a woman in LA at the time too, like even before I became very vegan, it was just such a glamorous thing. It was like, you live in LA, you go to, Cafe Gratitude. It was just kind of the culture I was living in. You'd go months on end without, and I love fish. But you would just always, all your lunch meetings would be at these vegan restaurants. And it was just kind of this way of life. And you just really get sucked into it. And everyone around you is vegan. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, it is a weird thing. I remember back in the day, we used to all take meetings up at Sunset Plaza, right? Mm-hmm. And there was Cravings and all those restaurants there. And I would be in there on lunch meetings, and everybody would just go, oh, just take the chopped salad, give me this salad, give me the lettuce, give me the spinach, the kale, whatever. And I would go, do you have fish? Do you have red meat? What do you have? And they would look at me as if I just murdered their first child.
Oh, totally.
The waiter, everybody was disgusted with me. And it was like,
totally.
And then they would say to me, how can you eat that? I mean, you're supposed to be the health guy. And it's like, yeah, this is what you're supposed. Nobody could buy into it. I'm talking all the way back into the 90s.
Totally. Yeah.
And if you ever read my book, Fitness Confidential, it starts on a story. The whole book is just stories.
Yeah.
And the first story is this company, Gallon Maury. Gallon Maury was the biggest. They called him the gay mafia. Sandy Gallon ran this company that had the biggest stars in the world. Dolly Parton, Michael Jackson, Roseanne Barr, all of these big names, Gallon Maury had them. And whatever that, and they would work with the Weinstein Group and all these different big companies. And this is how business was done.
Yeah.
And my book, Fitness Confidential, opens on a story where one day I find myself sitting in a meeting at Gallon Maury, and I'm not really sure how they got my name. I was early on in LA. I was working with Playmates. I kind of I figured out later on. I knew how I got there, but
yeah,
I walked in looking like a guy that just got done surfing. I had a t-shirt on, shorts, flip-flops.
Yeah.
And I walk in, there are suits from Disney, there are suits from Gallon Maury, there are suits from William Morris Endeavor.
Yeah.
And I walk in and they're looking at me as if I am the second coming of the Messiah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who do they think I am?
Yeah.
What do they think is going to happen here? And then one of them spoke up and said, we understand that you're the quick weight loss guy. And I'm like, okay, let's go with that. And they said, we have this woman, back then sitcoms, there was 42 sitcoms on television. And if you got a sitcom, you were rich.
Yeah, you were done.
Yeah. Seinfeld, they talk about Seinfeld money,
exactly.
Friends, you get Friends money. The terms. You've been out there.
Of course.
And they said, look, this girl keeps flunking her test because she's just too big. Back then, they didn't want big people on television. You had to look a certain way.
Yeah.
And they brought me in to get her to lose weight. And now that's how the book starts.
Crazy.
Right? The reason I tell you that is because I realized early on that when there's money to be made, if I sat there and told this woman, we're eating red meat, we're eating chicken, and we're eating fish. And by the way, you better be in love with eggs because you're going to have a lot of those. When they tell this woman, we're paying for you to be with this guy, and you have to listen to everything this guy says, then that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Totally.
So my clients would even say to me all the time, well, I hope I don't die of cholesterol poisoning. This poison you get from cholesterol somehow.
Yeah.
I hope we don't die of that while you're getting me ready for this big movie where I have to have a six-pack.
Yeah.
Right? They never saw, hey, wait a minute. I'm eating the way this guy is telling me to eat, and I'm getting healthier by the day. And they would start telling me stuff, especially the older guys, the guys in their mid-40s. They would go, I gotta tell you, I'm feeling more amorous lately. I'm getting that back. Another thing I would hear is, I had some neuropathy in my feet. My doctor, it's all gone. I'm not even taking medication. I would hear this stuff back in the 90s.
Yeah.
From putting people on low-carb diets. That was my big secret. Take them off of bread, take them off of corn, take them off of sugar. Yeah. And they all thought they were going to die, but the money was more important.
Yeah.
You get where I was?
Totally. That's so funny.
Yeah. A lot of them would go back to their vegan lifestyle after the movie.
That's so wild.
Can you imagine? I did this. I feel healthier now. Let me go back to where I wasn't feeling healthy and gain some weight back.
Exactly.
Does that make any sense to you?
No. And when you see how your energy and all those things change, you can't even think about going back. Yeah.
So what does your diet consist of, on a daily basis? You don't have to give me the exact, but what does it look like for Charlotte?
Yeah. So in the last like 2 years, I really, and it's hard. I mean, my whole life has, I battled with eating disorders. So it's really hard to like add new things in. I have weird rules.
Talk about that, because this is a show to help people.
Yeah.
And you have a big platform. You have millions of people. You can help a lot of young girls. You're a beautiful young girl yourself. There's a stigma behind eating disorders because, as my good friend Howie Mandel would always say, if you break your leg, you go to see a doctor and they put a cast on it. And everyone goes, oh my God, poor Charlotte broke her leg. But don't worry, she went to a doctor and got fixed. When you have a mental problem, it's this weird voodoo, right? Totally. It's a stigma. Let's get rid of the stigma here. Be open about this if you can, as open as you want to be.
Yeah, no. And it's funny because once I find that, because I've always been very private about whether it's my health, anything in my life, but when I saw other women opening up about things, that made me feel less alone. So I've been trying to talk about it more, but I think just my whole life, you get it. You make your money based off your body. So my whole, from 17 to where I am now is I'm only what my body is. That's my worth. So for me, I started with, I had a very bad binge eating disorder where I would just binge eat And then I would, be bulimic. And then, there were times just not eating enough at the end of the day. So I think dealing with all those, you just kind of, and it's still such a learning process. That's why I'm like eager to hear what you think of my diet, but it's still something I'm working on today. Like it's just a tough thing to kind of break that barrier. Even, you just kind of always have that diet culture talking to you in your back of your head, so.
Well, that never goes away.
Oh, no, never.
No matter what is going to always talk to you, but you have to be on top of it. That's the beauty of it. Right. I was looking for something to send to you via text. Okay. I'll find it. I'll find it at some point. So yeah, it is a very scary thing and sometimes tough to navigate because, your brain knows what to do, but then somehow your subconscious goes, let's do something else. Have you ever heard of the Barbie twins?
No.
When you get a chance later on, their actual name is Barbi. Okay. Their name, Shane and Sia Barbie. They don't live far from you. They live out in Malibu. Mm-hmm. They're identical twins. They're friends of mine.
Sounds familiar.
And they've written books on eating disorders. I met them on a shoot somewhere, and we became friends. I became closer friends with Shane. Okay. And when they were all made up, they looked a certain way. But without the makeup, like Shane would walk around looking like a homeless woman, just really big baggy sweats on, hair kind of frumping in her face, because otherwise, you guys would get bothered all day long. And
totally, yeah.
They would run up and down the stairs in Santa Monica. The 4th Street stairs.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and I would be out there every day. I'd go up and down the stairs sometimes 50 or 60 times a day. I would bring clients out there and just keep running them up and down. Crazy. And Shane and Sia, Shane would call me sometimes at 2 a.m. and say, hey, I'm going out to the stairs. Please meet me. Mm-hmm. And because she didn't want to throw up again because that's bulimia, but she had exercise bulimia. She just ate something that she deemed as being evil in her body. And she was going to be a good girl and not throw up and go out to the stairs. And when I tell you that Shane and Sia would sometimes run those stairs all night long, I'm not making that up. They would go up and down those stairs in Santa Monica.
Crazy. Yeah.
Think about that. Think about that. The crazy things people might do. And I'm not talking out of turn by telling this. They've written books and talked about it in books.
Of course. Yeah. No, I mean, even last night, like I had super clean, just like coconut ice cream, barely any sugar, straight coconut. And today I have to wake up and do my hot yoga and feel like, got to get it out of my system and can't have, it's that weird vicious cycle. And I totally over exercise and overdo all those things. And it's I feel like for me, it's learning how to talk back to that, that person saying, you have to do all this and stuff. So I think it's just something I'll always have to deal with, but I feel like with my life and my career, it's just been such a big part of,
Yeah. And look, I get it on some level because I've never had, I have a weird body dysmorphia where I don't like to look in a mirror. I hate my own image. Mm-hmm. So I don't look in a mirror much. But I have this exercise problem. I started doing ultra cycling events in the late 80s, early 90s, and did them until just a couple of years ago. My wife still did. My wife ran 100K right before we left for the Christmas holidays, and she's looking at running 100-miler in a few months.
Crazy.
Right. but it's not because she eats and then goes to exercise. We exercise to keep our brains from killing us, you know.
Totally.
I'm point where I think you can see it as weightlifting equipment, right?
Yeah. I can tell you're in a gym or something.
No, let me be very clear. This is not a gym. This is my office.
Yes.
I have if you look in the mirror behind me, you can see a big screen television over there.
Yeah.
This is a beautifully done room, right? Mm-hmm. I'm pointing to a spinner. I'm pointing to Concept 2 rower. I'm pointing to a paddle erg. Right here in my office, I'm pointing to a squat rack behind me.
Yeah.
I'm pointing to powerlifting equipment, an inversion machine, and dumbbells all over here. I've circled myself in life with the world's coolest gym.
I love that.
Because at any time of day or night, in between vitamin work and, you know, documentaries, I make documentaries in this room.
Amazing.
Right. That's a sickness, right? I realize that. Right. And I do it just to keep my head straight. It's just what I have to do.
Totally.
We all have something, right? Yours is you have to come to terms with the food every day. Right.
Yeah. But I think for me, it's also such a mental thing. Like I have to wake up and get some sort of movement in, or I have, you know, I think, I mean, it's definitely more mental for me, but, you know, I can come out of a yoga class with my wife, you know, or not work out. My boyfriend's like, did you not work out today? Like you sound a little like it's such, for me, you can tell such a difference. Like exercise to me is very, very mental, but it still has that other kind of weirdness to it too, and overdoing it. So
yeah, you know, and when people are hearing this, they'll see your photo, they'll go look you up and the whole thing. It's like, what does that bitch have to worry about? I don't think they get what you see and how you feel about you. You know,
Totally.
They always think, and that's one of the problems. And one of the last things I want to talk to you about, when people see people on Instagram, they think those people are always having a great day.
Totally.
Right. No one puts up bad pictures on Instagram.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
And go on.
No, but that's something I'm trying to learn how to promote and do, and why I'm like trying to talk and do more of these things. Is like, you know, you look at someone like you, and when you had leukemia, you probably didn't look like it. Or when someone sees me, you know, at a red carpet and full of hair and makeup, they don't know I have, you know, kidney disease or dealing with this and that. And I feel like Instagram in this world has really, really ruined so much of that. You know, people don't see it.
Well, no, they don't. And I try to explain to people, look, those people on Instagram don't look like that either. You know, when you look at, you know, some of the stuff, you know, the amount of makeup and lighting and everything else. I did a couple of ads back in the early 90s for different products where they would show before and after. Mm-hmm. We shot those pictures on the same day.
Oh, totally. Of course.
Yeah. And no one knows that. It's like, and back then you couldn't even use electronics to blow up you know, they would just set the light and, you know, you would have hair in your chest and stomach and the whole thing. And they would set the light to where you were backlit the wrong way and the whole thing.
Yeah. And
it automatically makes you look soft and zoftig and everything. And they go, look what happened to Vinnie in 6 weeks. They wouldn't use your name, but.
Of course. Yeah.
Basically, all you did was they pulled out a razor, shaved the hair off your chest, you know, powdered you down pretty good, got the light set up right, and said, okay, now instead of keeping your stomach soft, go ahead and flex it up there a little bit. Matter of fact, if you want to take 5 minutes and go do a few sit-ups, get a little blood flowing, let's see if we can get a couple of veins in that gut.
Yeah.
To get it going. Pictures are taken before and after on the same day.
Crazy.
You know, but when you explain that to people, as I always say, if you look at hot chicks on Instagram, you would swear none of them will do anything except fart fresh air.
Wait, I want to hear what you just, if you look at hot chicks, what? Sorry, you cut out.
Okay. It was such a good line. I might as well say it again.
It sounded like a good one. I want to hear it.
I've always said, when you look at hot chicks on Instagram, we all would like to believe that none of them do anything except fart fresh air.
Exactly.
And I, for one, know that the farts smell exactly the same because I'm with a hot chick.
That's gold, Vinnie.
Yeah, but it's true.
Totally.
It's true. I mean, your boyfriend or girlfriend, what do you have?
A boyfriend.
A boyfriend. Okay. You can't assume anymore, you know.
I know. Yeah. You can't assume anything.
You would get 5 degrees hotter if you had a girlfriend. Just saying, if that's even possible. But yeah, your boyfriend, no matter how hot you are, does not want you farting in bed.
Of course. Yeah.
Right?
No, of course.
But we hold these people up and we look at them and everyone's calling me going, hey man, can you make me look like her? And it's like, no, she can't even look like her.
Exactly. No, totally.
And so it's a weird image that we put out sometimes. So I'm glad that people like you would come onto the show and be open about this kind of stuff and talk about the fact that you have trouble with eating and you have, you know, all of the stuff going on, because people need to hear this. They just need to hear it.
Yeah. And that's why I'm here and what I'm trying to slowly do. And it's not easy. And, you know, but if I can be a voice to, you know, one girl on this show who feels, you know, insignificant or insecure, you know, so be it, that'd be great. So, but yeah.
No, I think you could be a help to a lot. I really do. And that's why I wanted to have you on.
A lot.
Folks, if you like what you're hearing here, you know, Villa Capelli is the longest running sponsor of the show. Villa Capelli olive oil. Yeah, Paul Capelli died about 2 years ago, but his husband, Stephen Crutchfield, decided to keep Villa Capelli up and running. Best olive oil in the world. It comes right out of Puglia, Italy. You want this stuff. Charlotte, write this down. You want yourself some Villa Capelli olive oil. I am not making this up. I bet you didn't know this. I'm going to tell you something that you didn't know. You can walk into the Whole Foods. You can walk into Sprouts. You can walk into any of these places. Where do
Erewhon.
Erewhon.
Where I spend all my money.
Do you know what happens if you spell Erewhon backwards?
Lose all your money?
No, when you spell it backwards, it's nowhere. Spell it backwards. It's nowhere, because they started, I'm going to tell you a little history here in the middle of an ad. They started not around La Cienega, I want to say
Beverly.
Somewhere. Yeah, Beverly.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like third. Yeah.
All right, if you look right across the street, there's an old health food store called the Nowhere Health Food Store, or it used to be there. So they they inverted the name and said, okay, we'll be Erewhon. Ta-da. Nowhere backwards. Learn something new every day, baby.
Every day.
That's why you come to this podcast every week. So Erewhon, same thing. You go there, you look up the olive oil, it'll say extra virgin. The tree doesn't even miss the olives yet. That's how this is like the best ever. Our government, our U.S. government, makes me sound like a conspiracy theory, but you can go look this up. This is not conspiracy. We allow these companies to cut the olive oil up to 40%. So if 60% is real olive oil, they can say 100% real olive oil, right? But you're getting seed oils. You're getting the stuff that will harm your cells, every cell in your body. Now, Villa Capelli is not the only great olive oil out there. You can actually go look up every year. UC Davis puts out the UC Davis oil study.
Oh,
and
interesting.
You may find good oils at Erewhon or Sprouts or Whole Foods or actually Costco may have a great oil.
Great.
They exist. Okay. But we know for a fact that Villa Capelli is 100% pure olive oil. You get that Puglia pinch. You feel it on the back of your throat. Folks, I use it in my vitamin D over at purevitaminclub.com. You have to mix D with an oil. I contracted with Paul Capelli before he died. I keep that contract going with Stephen Crutchfield. This is the best oil on the planet, guaranteed. Villa Capelli, you want to save 10%. Put in promo code Vinnie, VINNIE, 10%. If you spend over $100, you get free shipping. Go check out everything they have over at villicapelli.com. You can also go to vinnietartaries.com and click through the banner. Charlotte, I can sit and talk to you all night. You
I
are
was just say that, Vinnie. I could literally talk to you all day. When you come to LA, I need to take you out to lunch, meet in real life, and just pick your brain, because I am so intrigued by everything you have to say.
Well, you have my number now.
You'll be hearing from me.
Yeah, just text me whenever. I'm going to put your name next to you. I'm going to do all that.
Yeah, same. I'll save you now. But it was such an absolute pleasure. I feel so honored to have had the time to just see you and speak with you, and keep doing what you're doing. And I'm here as an advocate for you at all times.
No, I really do appreciate that. So folks, go check out Charlotte McKinney everywhere. I mean, go check out her Instagram. You'll get stuck there for an hour. Go waste some time looking at this woman. Where can they find you? Serena hates when people ask her this. What movies have you? What are some of your favorite pieces of work? So, as a matter of fact, I want to go watch it tonight too.
I mean, all of it's just silly little comedies here and there. I'm still working on that big thing I'm proud of, but I've done, so many little things I can't even
So it would be better if we just Google it.
Yeah.
Google that shit, as they say.
The most recent thing I did was The Argument. That was an indie film. Guest House was a comedy. Fantasy Island that I did in Fiji. But more to come.
Look, it is not easy. My sister-in-law is in the business. My wife is in the business. It's not easy. And by the way, it never gets easy. You can have the big hit. You can, no matter what it is, Kristen was an English patient and she was a horse whisperer. She still has to show up and get the next job.
Totally.
It's like
a daily grind.
Yeah, it's Hollywood just sucks the life out of you.
But Vinnie, I'm still just waiting for the day I can do the coming out of a conch shell job. So that's my next.
Wait till you see this conch shell. I'm going to
doing it right now. Doing it right now. I cannot wait.
All right, let me close the show up and we can say goodbye off the air. Don't go away.
Perfect.
Folks, if you like what's going on here, go to vinnietartaries.com. Click through the banner before you go to Amazon. Puts a little coal on the fire, gets my train down the track. Also, we have a super fan page there. You guys can go check that out. The movie that got me introduced to Charlotte McKinney was Beyond Impossible. I'm told by Gravitas Ventures that we are the #1 movie that they have on Amazon right now. We've been hovering between #1 and #10 on iTunes. And I'm understanding that Vimeo is killing it, and Vudu and all those, wherever you can find it in the world, is killing it. So go check that out. On behalf of Ms. Charlotte McKinney, my name is Vinnie Tartarych. Put life into living